Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Carson Rouse, and welcome back to Business Buzz, where we focus on business, entrepreneurship, and investing. Today, I'm going to be talking about the different types of credit scores. Today, I'm going to be going through the main types of credit scores and what they mean, what they're used for, and a little bit of how you can improve these credit scores to be more favorable in the eyes of the lenders. Valuable information I'm going to be preaching today. Be sure to go down and leave a big old like on this video and consider subscribing to this channel for lots of personal finance content. First, let's talk about your FICO score. This is by far the most popular and most widely used credit score when it comes to companies and people looking at whether they want to approve your applications for different loans. First, though, let me explain what is a FICO score. A FICO score is a very broad credit score which is supposed to show a good idea of how good you're at paying back your debts. It was initially developed by the Fair Isaac Corporation, and believe it or not, it is used in 90% of all lending decisions, so obviously it's very important to have a good FICO score. Anything from applying for a credit card, buying a car, or just getting about any loan you can think of is probably going to require them checking your FICO score. Now I want to talk about what the FICO score means, and here's a good graphic that shows you what your FICO score indicates to potential lenders out there. Typically, credit scores are going to range anywhere between 300 and 850, and if you've got a score above 700, you're going to be able to apply for just about any credit card or loan that you're wanting to apply for in most cases. There are 5 different factors that affect your FICO score, and it's very important to understand the allocation of each of these factors and to how much they're taken into account when affecting your FICO score. Number 1 is your payment history, which affects 35% of your FICO score. So obviously this is very important. This basically determines how on time and reliable you are with your credit card payments and other loans that you're paying off. So if you have a poor history of this and you're constantly late on your payments and things like that, it's affecting 35% of your score. So this is a big deal that you need to get fixed. Number 2 is your current debt, which makes up 30% of your FICO score. This is basically how much debt you have compared to the amount that you're actually able to accrue with things like credit card limits. So if you are in way over your head in debt, far beyond your credit card limits, this is going to affect your credit score very badly. Number 3 is the length of your credit history, which affects 15% of your score, so still a pretty reasonably big factor. And if you're a young person here, I'm sorry to you, because if you're just starting to build your credit score, you're automatically going to be docked a lot of points just because you're so new to having credit and having debts. This is why it's important to get started early in building your credit, so 10 years, 15 years down the road, you can really thank yourself. Number 4 is new credit, which affects 10% of your score, and this basically monitors how often you're applying for new forms of credit. Number 5 is credit mix, which also affects about 10% of your score, and this measures how efficient you are in handling different types of credit, like credit cards, housing loans, student loans, and more. All in all, the FICO score is very important to pay attention to because this is what's going to be used the vast majority of the time when lenders are considering your applications. Next up, let's talk about Vantage Score. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion were the 3 major credit bureaus in 2006 that founded this type of credit score. The purpose of Vantage Score was to make an improved credit score which better takes into account human behavior and trends. The latest versions 3.0 and 4.0, implement the same increments that the FICO score uses, which means that your credit score, when it comes to Vantage Score, is also going to be between the numbers of 300 to 850 usually. It's also important to note that while your FICO score takes about 6 months of activity to determine your overall score, Vantage Score only takes your last month of activity, just 1 month. Here's a picture of what your score means, and obviously on your Vantage Score, you're going to have probably a little bit of a lower number, but still be considered somebody with good credit. The Vantage Score allocates things a little bit differently and takes things into account like the length of your credit history, and your utilization when determining the score. Sadly though, there is no equation that is public that shows us how they calculate it, which is unfortunate because that makes it a little bit more difficult to figure out why your Vantage Score is what it is and how you can improve it. It's also important to mention that there are other credit scores that exist, including proprietary ones given by the 3 major credit bureaus. You can also get a score from Credit Karma, which is becoming increasingly popular, but the main scores you want to focus on are your Fico Score and your Vantage Score. I'll leave you off with some tips to improve your credit score, as it is very important to do so. Number 1, always pay your credit cards off in time before the period is up. Number 2, use tools like Credit Karma to keep track of your credit. If you're constantly checking your credit score and staying on top of things, that'll encourage you to make smarter, better decisions when it comes to handling your credit. Number 3 is to keep your utilization low, preferably under 30%. So if your credit card has a limit of $10,000, try not to use more than $3,000 at a time. This might mean you need to lower your monthly expenses because this will improve your score if you keep your utilization low, especially with something like the Vantage Score that most likely takes utilization into much more account than other scores. Number 4 is to get a mortgage and always pay on time. I know this isn't the best advice for everybody, not everybody's looking for a house, but it's pretty widely known and accepted now that paying off your mortgage on time drastically improves your credit score. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you learned anything, be sure to leave a comment and let me know what you learned, and leave a like on this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.